Richard is also a man of integrity and principle. Richard was first elected at the 2015 general election. He nominated Jeremy Corbyn last summer and is now Shadow Justice Minister, having previously worked in John McDonnell's Shadow team. Richard, you're very welcome.
Friends, sisters and brothers, it's great to be with you here today. I asked my friend and colleague Rebecca Long-Bailey, because my geography is not as good as my legal skills, I said, is this Salford or is it Manchester? She said, it's Salford. So in that case, if this isn't Manchester, then I know that you all support Man United. It's a Leeds United joke, sorry. The last time I was in this wonderful hall, I saw the wonderful Irish singer Christy Moore, and that was a memorable event too. But I want to start off by thanking each and every single one of you. I want to thank you for together, collectively, even you up in the cheap seats up there, making history. The truth is that most people who aren't in love with themselves never realise that together we're making history. But I want to take you back to the 15th of February 2003. On that day, I got the bus down from Leeds to London to join 2 million other people to march against the proposed invasion of Iraq. Jeremy Corbyn, who I'd never met before, speak. I saw Jeremy Corbyn speak out against what would happen if our previous Labour leader supported George Bush's proposed invasion of Iraq. And little did I think that day, back on the 15th of February 2003, little did I think I'd ever be a Member of Parliament for the area I'm from. Little did I think that Jeremy would ever be elected as the Socialist leader of the Labour Party. And little did I think, sisters and brothers, that on a Wednesday, just a couple of weeks ago, I'd be sat on the front bench on the day that the Labour Party leader, Jeremy Corbyn, apologised on behalf of the previous by thanking each and every single one of you. The truth was, there were establishment figures scattered all over the place, some closer to home than others, that didn't want Jeremy to be leader at all, but certainly didn't want Jeremy to be leader on that historic Wednesday the other week when the Chilcot report was published. And the truth is this, without all of you, last summer, without all of you in the past few weeks, there wouldn't have been a Labour Party leader stood up apologising for that on that day. So in that sense, and in many others, all of you have made history. And the good news is that despite the predictions of some people, history ain't over yet. And together, we can make further positive, progressive, positively changing history together. Because there are those who want to make history together, and there are those who want to impede the positive progress of history. And I want to briefly just refer to the part of history which made me interested in politics in the first place. The thing that got me interested in Labour politics, the thing that got me interested in socialist politics was hearing about the 1984 to 1985 miners' strike as I grew up. And if there's one thing we remember from the miners' strike, if there's one thing that I remember from the many people I know, including my auntie, who was a Women Against Pit Closures activist, the truth is this, that during that dispute, the establishment attempted to demonise hundreds of thousands of decent men and women as thugs, as misogynists, as brick throwers, and as bullies. Of decent people who were guilty only of this crime. The crime they were guilty of, in the eyes of the establishment, was working together in a positive way to stand up for the interests of working class people and create a better society. Jeremy has been correct to clearly and without equivocation condemn bullying, condemn abuse, and condemn threatening behaviour. And the truth is this: I am not, and others are not, going to stand by and see every single one of you portrayed as the striking miners were, as the Women Against Pit Closures were, as thugs, brick throwers, bullies, and misogynists. Women and men. When I look at my constituency Labour Party, which has tripled in size, I meet people enthused and positive about working together to change our society. These are not bad people. These are good people. We should be proud of them, and I say welcome to the Labour Party. And I say this as well. It's vitally important that we respect each other with our different views, as we do. But I'll tell you this, MPs need to respect party members as well. MPs shouldn't be abused by members of the public. MPs shouldn't be abused by members of the Labour Party or those who appear to be members of the Labour Party, but also honest, decent Labour Party members, the people who made me an MP, the people who made all of these other people MPs. These people as well should not be abused, disrespected or badly treated by MPs. As Sam and other speakers have said, is vitally important. But forgive me for my temerity. I'm not going to take lectures on winning or losing for those who were in charge when we suffered a historic decimation in Scotland. I do think that people need to be open-minded. I do think that people need to learn the lessons of our electoral history. We did lose, sadly, the last two general elections. Labour lost 5 million votes between 1997 to 2010. We managed to get ourselves down from 48 Labour MPs to just one Labour MP in Scotland. And don't think, by the way, that that's impossible to be repeated elsewhere in the country, in Yorkshire, in Lancashire, or anywhere else. And New Labour was right to say you always have to remain modern. You always have to remain in touch with the changing circumstances. New Labour was right to say that what worked in 1974 wouldn't work in 1997. But what worked in 1997 won't work in 2016. I've often recently finished speeches with a quote from Martin Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King famously said, at the end of the day, what you remember is not the words of your enemies, but the silences of your friends. And the truth is, friends, that many people in the UK who looked to the Labour Party to be their friend started to think that Labour, rather than being a friend speaking out, was a friend being silent. So silent, in fact, on the issues that mattered, that people wondered whether we were their friends at all still. But what we have since Jeremy Corbyn's election as leader of the Labour Party is a Labour Party leadership that isn't standing by, a Labour Party leadership that is standing up, a Labour Party leadership that is speaking up, a Labour Party leadership that can't in any way be accused of being a silent friend in times of trouble. And under Jeremy Corbyn, whatever they say in the newspapers and elsewhere, we've seen Labour working, we've seen Labour winning. It's already been mentioned. Parliamentary by-election victories in Oldham with the Labour share of the votes increased. In Sheffield with the Labour share of the votes increased. In Ogmore and also in Tooting with the Labour share of the votes increased. Under Jeremy Corbyn, whatever you might say in the newspapers and elsewhere, we've seen Labour working and winning together with mayoral election victories in Liverpool for Joe Anderson, in London for Sadiq Khan, here in Salford for your very own Paul Dennett, and a special mention must be made of the election victory in Bristol, because Marvin Rees, a truly excellent candidate, had stood and fought a few years before, but sadly didn't win. But the combination of him as an excellent, courageous, hard-working, visionary candidate, plus Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, saw where Labour had lost in Bristol previously. This time we walked it, and congratulations to all who took part. We also had decent council election results across the country despite the predictions. So yes, there's a lot of nonsense being talked. One of the biggest pieces of nonsense I've heard is people who have attempted to decry and denigrate Jeremy as some kind of Islington-based croissant muncher. Totally unfair. By the way, we eat croissants in Leeds as well. So I ain't going to be patronised by people who write for The Guardian telling me what working class people... So, as I said, they tried to decry him as somebody who's just fixated on London. But I'll tell you this, not only did Jeremy Corbyn make history by appointing the first majority female shadow cabinet, he's also made history because when I look round that shadow cabinet now, I can't remember at any point when northern working class voices were so well represented. The Shadow Education Secretary. We've got Rebecca Long Bailey from very near here as the Shadow Treasury Minister. We've got Graham Morris, we've got John Trickett, we've got Dave Anderson, and we've got myself and many others as well. And I want to talk, before I draw my rambling remarks to sort of a conclusion, I want to talk about the concept of leadership. I'll tell you this, It was leadership that the first act of Jeremy Corbyn, after he was elected at the QE2 Centre on the 12th of September last year, was to go straight from the QE2 Centre and have his first act as Labour leader to attend the Refugees Are Welcome rally. A team of spin doctors before making that decision. Jeremy didn't consult a focus group before making that decision. Jeremy did it because it was the right thing to do. Politics, if you like. If our politics is not about doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, then we're all wasting our time in politics. But I want to talk about the concept of leadership. The concept of leadership is about being a persuader. The concept of leadership is about challenging the status quo. The concept of the leadership is showing strength to be ahead of the game. I'll tell you what leadership is and what leadership was. Leadership was speaking up for gay rights when everyone else, it seemed, thought it was mad to do so. Leadership was advocating a peace process in Northern Ireland when you got all the terrorists for advocating a peace process in Northern Ireland. And leadership was about speaking out against the invasion of Iraq when the full weight of the establishment was telling people that that was the wrong thing to do. Leadership also was about opposing the Tories' welfare bill, which would have hurt so many people in my constituency, in this area, in areas like across the country, when others just, I'm afraid, sat on their hands and prepared sandbags. I do want to talk before I finish about my role, as was mentioned, as Shadow Justice Secretary. Apparently, when we get a Labour government, the Shadow Justice Secretary becomes the Justice Secretary, but also the Shadow Justice Secretary becomes the Lord Chancellor. Sounds very impressive, doesn't it? And apparently, that means that if I'm in that position, then when we get a Labour government under Jeremy Corbyn, I'm going to have to wear a pair of tights. I'm going to have to wear a clean pair of shoes. But I'll tell you this, that's a sacrifice I'm prepared to make. For 10 years, and I remember when the Conservative Liberal Democrat coalition introduced employment tribunal fees, and I'll never forget the first day as an employment lawyer representing sacked workers, representing workers who had been discriminated against. I'll never forget the first day I lodged an employment tribunal claim for a badly treated worker after the introduction of employment tribunal fees. I sat at my computer, I went onto the Employment Tribunal Service website, I was about to lodge the claim, and a message from the Employment Tribunal Service came up, and that message said, "Customer, please enter your credit card number." And doesn't that say a lot? Do we really believe that those attempting to assert their statutory right to the minimum wage, those asserting their statutory right not to be discriminated on grounds of race, disability, religion, or belief in the workplace, are these people customers, or are they citizens attempting to assert their statutory rights? Manifesto, an excellent manifesto which I was pleased to campaign on, but in relation to employment tribunal fees, it said that we, a Labour government, will put an end to the Conservatives. We will scrap the Conservatives' unfair employment tribunal fee system. Now, it may be because I'm cynical, it may be because I was a lawyer, I was reading too much into it, but when I read that, I wasn't clear what it meant. Did it mean we'd reduce employment tribunal fees? Did it mean we'd abolish them? I just don't know. But I can say, as I said from the dispatch box in Parliament the other week, that no ifs, no buts, a Labour government with Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister will abolish employment tribunal fees and pursue a policy of justice for all. Justice Secretary. A Labour government with Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister will have a Prime Minister and a Justice Secretary who believe that there are some things which shouldn't be subjected to the profit motive. And we believe And I believe that the prison service, our prison service, is one of those things. We will have a Prime Minister and a Justice Secretary who believe that the incarceration of human beings shouldn't be a matter of profit which builds mansions for multi-millionaires. I'm nearly finished, don't worry. Social democratic parties across Europe, across the world in fact, are in crisis. And why is that? The reason they're in crisis is because it's becoming clear to millions of people in this country and round the globe that the economic status quo has failed ordinary people. The truth is, someone leaving school at the age of 15 with no qualifications in my constituency 40 years ago had more chance of a council house, more chance of a mortgage, more chance of a well-paid, secure, satisfying job than someone leaving university at the age of 21 as in our constituency. Once you understand that the neoliberal, free market fundamentalist economic system has ruled the roost since 1979, by and large, regardless of which party's been in power, despite all the good work we did in government between 1997 and 2010, once you realise that for the first time in 100 years, working class people can't say with confidence that their children will do better and have more opportunities than them, once you understand that, you understand that the current system is in crisis. And once you understand that the current system isn't delivering for the majority, then it seems to be sheer madness to try and return to defending or aping the previous status quo that lost us 5 million votes and lost us 2 elections and, I'm afraid, lost us the trust of many people, not only Labour voting communities, but other communities around the rest of the UK. So that's why it's important that Jeremy's election last summer and his appointment of John McDonnell as Shadow Chancellor has created a situation where it ain't just slogans. Labour is an anti-austerity party. That's so essential. And I want to finish by quoting a great socialist hero, Aneurin Bevan. Miner, trade unionist, socialist, Labour MP, and the founder of our National Health Service, which without a doubt is the best example of socialist principles put into practice by a winning Labour government. Said, we have been the dreamers, we have been the sufferers, now we are the builders. The truth is that under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, Labour has been built as a party from 180,000 members before the general election to nearly 600,000 members now. The truth is that under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, Labour has built an electoral winning record. I mentioned it earlier, but other speakers have mentioned it too. The truth is, under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, Labour has built a bond of trust with the British people that had frayed to the point of breaking under the leadership of Tony Blair. People really do need to recognise that. I believe that when we hear Bevan talk about the process of building, I believe that we together can carry on building. I believe that together we can build a campaign which returns Jeremy as Labour leader. I believe together we can build a campaign which sees a Labour government with Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister. And fundamentally, I believe that together, all of us can win together and build in government a better society that Aneurin Bevan and all those who came before us dreamed of. We will put those dreams into reality.